Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm so glad to have you with us again. Today, we are diving into a topic that is both profound and highly relevant to all of us. If you've ever found yourself holding on to anger, resentment, or grudges, whether against others or even yourself, then this video is for you. We are going to explore one of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism, a teaching that speaks directly to the heart of human suffering, the power of karma, and how it relates to the grudges we hold. In our daily lives, it's easy to find ourselves hurt or upset by the actions of others. Someone may have wronged us, betrayed us, or caused us pain in some way, and naturally, we might feel anger or resentment toward them. These feelings are part of being human, but the Buddha's teachings offer us a different perspective on these emotions. In fact, the Buddha warned us that even the greatest supernatural powers cannot overcome the power of karma. What does this mean, and how does it relate to the grudges we hold? Let's explore this together. At the heart of this teaching is the understanding of karma, the law of cause and effect. In Buddhism, karma is not just about good and bad deeds, it's about the energy we create with our thoughts, words, and actions. Every time we act, we create ripples in the universe, and these ripples return to us. If we act out of anger, hatred, or desire for revenge, we create negative karma that will inevitably come back to us, either in this life or in future lives. But when we forgive, let go, and act out of compassion and wisdom, we create positive karma that brings us peace and liberation. One of the most important lessons the Buddha taught was that holding on to grudges and harboring anger only harms ourselves. It does not punish the person who wronged us, it punishes us. In his teachings, the Buddha compares holding a grudge to holding a hot coal in your hand, intending to throw it at someone. In the process, you burn yourself. The other person may never even know you're angry, but you suffer while they remain unaffected. This is the nature of karma. When we hold on to negative emotions, we are the ones who are weighed down by them. But this isn't always easy to accept, is it? After all, when we've been hurt, it's natural to want justice, to seek retribution, or to hold someone accountable. Yet, the Buddha teaches us that the greatest way to break the cycle of suffering is through forgiveness, not for the sake of the other person, but for our own sake. Forgiveness is the key to releasing ourselves from the chains of karma, and it's the path that leads to peace, healing, and freedom. So, what does the Buddha mean when he says that even supernatural powers cannot overcome the power of karma? It's a reminder that no matter how powerful we become, whether through spiritual practice or worldly accomplishments, we cannot escape the consequences of our actions. We cannot use our abilities, whether it's the ability to perform miraculous feats or to gain wealth or power, to escape the effects of our past actions. Karma is a natural law, like gravity. It's something that we cannot control or escape. The only way to transcend the negative karma we've accumulated is through self-awareness, repentance, and compassion. When we hold grudges, we are not only bound by the negative karma from that particular incident, but we are also reinforcing a pattern of suffering. This pattern becomes ingrained in our minds, and we find ourselves repeatedly getting hurt, angered, or upset by similar situations. The Buddha teaches that if we continue to act out of anger and hatred, we are simply sowing the seeds for more suffering in the future. This is why it is so important to let go of grudges and to cultivate forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean that we condone or accept the wrongs that others have done to us. It doesn't mean that we let people walk all over us. Forgiveness, in the Buddhist sense, is about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden of holding on to resentment. It's about choosing peace over suffering. When we forgive, we break the cycle of karma and create space for healing. In his teachings, the Buddha often spoke about the importance of mindfulness and awareness in dealing with negative emotions. When we feel anger or resentment arise, we are encouraged to observe these emotions without judgment, to understand their root causes, and to let them pass. Instead of acting on our impulses to seek revenge or hold a grudge, we are taught to pause, reflect, and choose a path of compassion. One of the most powerful ways to release anger and resentment is to practice loving-kindness meditation, or metta. In this practice, we cultivate love and compassion, first for ourselves and then for others, especially those with whom we are angry or upset. By sending loving thoughts to those we have grievances with, we begin to soften our hearts and release the hold that anger has on us. This practice not only transforms our own hearts, but also creates positive karma, which will inevitably lead to greater peace and happiness. Now, you may be wondering, how can I apply this teaching to my life, especially if the pain or injustice I've experienced feels unbearable? The first step is to acknowledge that the pain is real. The Buddha doesn't ask us to ignore our suffering, but rather to understand it. By understanding the root of our suffering, we begin to see how our responses to it can either perpetuate the cycle of pain or lead to liberation. The second step is to recognize that holding on to resentment is a choice. It might not feel like it, especially when the hurt feels so deep, but the act of holding a grudge is something we can choose to release. We can choose to transform our feelings of anger into compassion, our desire for retribution into understanding. This doesn't mean we forget or condone the wrongs done to us, but it means we stop allowing those wrongs to control us. The third step is to actively practice forgiveness. This might involve saying to yourself, "I forgive you," when thinking about the person who hurt you, or it might mean writing a letter or prayer of forgiveness. The key is to release the negative emotions that are holding you back and to open your heart to healing. The more we practice forgiveness, the easier it becomes and the lighter our hearts feel. It's a way to break free from the negative karma we have created and to move toward a future of peace and happiness. The Buddha also taught that we should be mindful of our actions and words, not only when we are angry, but in all aspects of our lives. By cultivating a mind of compassion and wisdom, we prevent the accumulation of negative karma in the first place. Instead of reacting impulsively or out of ego, we learn to act with mindfulness and understanding. This is the path to true freedom. In conclusion, the Buddha's teachings remind us that holding grudges and acting out of anger only harms us. The power of karma is inescapable, and no matter how powerful we become, we cannot avoid the consequences of our actions. The key to breaking free from the cycle of suffering is forgiveness, not for the sake of others, but for our own sake. By letting go of resentment, we free ourselves from the hold of negative karma and open ourselves to the peace, happiness, and liberation that comes from acting with compassion and wisdom. Thank you so much for joining me today as we explored this profound teaching from the Buddha. I hope this video has helped you understand the importance of letting go of grudges and cultivating forgiveness in your own life. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or any questions you may have. Once again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. May you find peace and freedom on your path, free from the burdens of anger and resentment.